welcome to another beautiful Chef's Platter. Karibu tena.
We are going to see how to bisect the whole lamb and how to make it portions for cooking or preparation. So we are separating the belly fat, the chest part, and the legs. Here in between we have the loin. So in every piece of lamb we have only 2 fillets. We are going to cut in between the ribs. You can use knife because it's at home. Maybe many people have no bandsaw. So here is where we get the best chops.
Once again, this is the loin. Fat, beautiful, another fat here. Now imagine if you have a charcoal, how do you call it? A chico, that you can use everything. Everything in the carcass you can use. Just with doing it a couple of times, then you will know how to cut it. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another beautiful Chef's Platter. Karibu tena. Tonight, we're going to be showing you how to carve a goat or a lamb. Now, I have been blessed since the 4 years that I have been here, meeting lots of Kenyan people that have invited me to their homes up country. And every time I go there, they will slaughter a goat or a sheep. So, and I was, looking at them and I see the way that they prepare the meat and everything. So tonight we will show you how to carve, and we will show you also different parts of this meat. Now I am with my chief butcher, Daniel. Daniel, what are you going to show us tonight?
Good evening, everyone. We are going to see how to bisect the whole lamb and how to make it portions for cooking or preparation. Mm-hmm. First, we are going to start with the all pieces from the neck, the shoulders, the ribs, and the legs. And after that, I will show you how to portion the leg, portion the shoulders, the lamb chops, and the neck. Welcome.
So we will be showing you every single piece that you can now remember. The whole goat you can use. You can use it for all kind of preparations, and we will show you that. And in our case, when we slaughter, we actually keep the goat hanging for about 10 days. Why? We call it an aging process. The aging process is to allow the goat or the beef to dry a little bit, so we don't have any blood in it, but also the fat to marble a little bit inside the meat. So the more fat you have going, and you can see it here, it's going inside the pieces of meat, the better it is. And we use really everything in it, every single thing in it. So, Daniel, what do you think the best to start with?
We are going to start with the crown neck.
Okay.
We remove it. Then we come to shoulders. I'm just going to use my knife, my hand knife. We are going to not use any machine, maybe once or twice. Because this piece has joints, we are going to cut right to the joints, into the joints. So every part, we are going to lay it here. So from the neck, shoulders, legs, we have inside here, we have the kidneys. We are going to clean inside nicely. And then I'll show you where to get the spare ribs and the best chops.
The best chops. And the fillet also.
And the fillet.
The fillet is very important. Now, it's very, very important. Daniel is one of the best butchers I have met through my career. He really, really uses everything. every single part of this goat or lamb he's going to be using. Now, I will, after a short break, I will leave you with my colleague, and then he will show you exactly what to do every time that you slaughter a goat up country or even here. And for the professional chefs also, now we know that chefs are not butchers. So for the professional chefs, please look the way that Daniel is going to be carving, and I hope you will learn something out of this. I'll see you after the break.
Welcome back. Now we are going to start with the whole lamb from the neck down to the legs. So we are going to bisect it one part by one part. So you are going to see every part laid down. So we start with the crank neck. Just pass your knife there. There's a joint here, so you just cut it. This is the neck. Next we come to the shoulders. Shoulders are not joined with the chest direct. There's no joint between the chest and the shoulder. So we just open it like this. This is the first shoulder. We have the other side. We just open it right here. So the shoulder and the chest is not joined with a joint. It's just tendons and the sticks. So you just remove it like this with a knife. So that is the second shoulder. So we have the inside here. We have the belly, the belly parts, and we have the kidneys. This is the kidney, well protected in a big fat, thick one. So we are going to open the belly. From here. Just like this. So we are separating the belly fat, the chest part, and the legs. Here in between we have the loin. The loin is the one which carries the fillets. So in every piece of lamb we have only 2 fillets. So we remove the parts. So we open the other side of the belly like this. These are the fats which protect the kidney, as you have seen. So you remove all the fats. We choose our lamb from 14 to 15 kilos. So it's supposed to be 14, 15 kilos so that you can get the best part, the best meat from it because it's young. And we age it for 10 days. So our meat is well aged with mumbling inside the meat. So after 10 days, it's ready for the best chops and any other part we are going to ship. Thank you. So we remove this is the part the piece of meat which protects the intestines inside the lamb. So we are going to just remove this. This is the part, the skirt like. We are going to trim it nicely for the trimmings. So we are not going to waste anything. From the bones, the trimmings, we are using everything. So inside, you can see how it is. This is the fillet from ear to ear. The fillet from ear to ear. These are the ribs. So we are going to separate the loin, the legs, and the chest, the breast. So the backbone has joints. So we are going to cut right through the joint. Using my knife, we are not going to rely more on my machine, but we are going to use knife because mostly we want people who are at home to know how to do it in their homes. So here there is a joint where we are going to separate the chest and the loin part. You can see the joint, just like that. This is the other joint. So this part carries the breast chops, the thorax, and the spare rib. But for us, we cut the thorax and the spare rib together so that it can be used. Because if you remove the thorax alone, it will be like just the bone. But with the spare rib, you can use it very nicely for choma. So we separate the loin right from here. It's very simple and interesting, but you have to see it and train and mostly practice to make it perfect. So you see the loin, very nice part. So from the loin, we are going to get the fillet. The fillet is in between the center bone or the vein. Okay, here we come. This is the leg, the pair of legs. One pair of legs. So this one we are going to cut it just right here. It has a joint. So you have to master the joint so that you can go straight. Just like that. And there's another one here, other side of the tail. Just here. That's your knife there. There. Then you open it. Here I use white linen. We sanitize it, and here I have my sanitizer for the linen. So I usually put it there to wipe the meat. This wipes the meat, not the floor or the working table. So we remove the extra fat from the leg. So this is the leg. Here we have this piece of bone, the tailbone. So you just remove it with your, because I've already cut the joint, so we just remove it with your hands. That's the bone. Remove the fats, the extra fats. Okay, the other leg. So with this one, we are going to separate the best chop up to here with a spare rib. We also here remove the extra fat. There's this lining of fat where the stomach is opened. Do the same on the other side. So here I'm going to use this machine to cut across the bone. So that's the part of best bone. You separate the thorax so that you can get the spare rib. So this one, we are going to cut in between the ribs. You can use knife because it's at home. Maybe many people have no bandsaw, so you can use your knife. But this part, the strong part, to make it easy to carve. You also do the same to the other one. So that is the spare ribs. So with this one, I'm going to clean a little bit here inside. This one is already sanitized. In sanitized water for cleaning. Okay, spare rim. So here is where we get the best chops. So I'm going to show you how to cut it with a knife. Right there, at the center of the spinal cord. You cut one side, then you turn to the other side. Turn this other side. Remove the extra fats. Certain piece of meat here. Head of fillet. Okay, turn it this way. I think you can see where I've cut. So I'm going to pass my knife there so that I can separate the spinal cord and the ribs. This one you have to be very careful because the knife can side otherwise and cut. Then you separate here. You can see how I've cut separated the spinal cord and the ribs. So you have to remove it from here. So this is the piece of best chop. Other piece. Now we have to trim all the meats from the bone. This meat we use for the burgers. We mince meat. We make it mince meat, and then we make burgers. Very nice ones. So we don't leave anything on the bone. You just leave the bone and a few tendons. It's a piece of meat, so we are going to put it in there. We are through with the bisecting. We are coming back with the chef to show how to portion the pieces. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Chef's Platter. Now, I hope that you have learned a little bit from our chief butcher here, Daniel. We have shown you how to carve the whole goat, and now we're going to show you a little bit the pieces that we can get out of here. And next week, when I'm asking you to join us next week, so we can show you after the carving what can you do with the pieces. So Daniel, let's show people at home how we can cut the cutlets, the fillets, and then how we can carve and get the bones out of here so we can do a roast. So now remember, like I said when we started the program tonight, that you can use everything. Everything in the carcass you can use. And as we go next week, I will show you how to use it, how to make your own sausages, how to make your own broths, how to make the fillets, how to prepare the fillets, how to roast. This is beautiful cutlets. You can make them in less than 5 minutes. So let's start with carving the cutlets.
So we can start with the fillet. I'll show you where to get the fillet, so how to remove it.
Now, as you see, it's very, very important to know how to let's see, how to put your knife. Very, very important when you cut, when you carve. You know, it's a different position how to work with your knife. And then don't work with your muscles, work with your fist, okay? So you're gonna work like here, and this is how it goes. The same here, you're gonna go, and then you work with until here, not with your muscles. Now Daniel is going really very, very sharp, and remember always to work with a sharp knife, because accidents happen actually if the knife is not sharp. So sharpen your knives always before you start carving. Daniel, would you tell them exactly what you are going? You are going, yeah?
The spinal cord is not straight. It's not a straight bone. So the fillet covers the insides of the
bones,
the spinal cord. So you have to go like meandering on the bone. So you have to remove the fillet from, so your knife will show, you just direct your knife to the bone so that you can remove all the meat from the bone. And then there's bones, the ribs, you just lay your knife flat so that you can remove the fillet now.
And remember what I told you, let the knife do the job actually, because you know the knife will direct you. Now this is the fillet. The fillet is a very, very beautiful piece actually. Very soft, and it has a little bit fat, as you see. And if you pan fry this or you grill it, you don't need more than 2 minutes, because it's very, very soft. Now, remember what the fillet comes from here, and we will show you in the next episode also how to carve the beef. And it's the same way, because the carcasses are the same. So the build of the carcass is exactly the same. Now, the fillet is very, very important. This part, you can just grill it on the charcoal, and for about 2-3 minutes, and you have a beautiful piece of meat. Okay?
Okay. So this is the loin. So we have the loin, the top loin. So this one you can debone it, cut it into cutlets, or you cut it at the center, you cut it with the bone.
Yeah.
So let's debone on one side, and the other side I'll cut with the machine.
With the machine.
Yeah. So this bone is straight, so you have to just go straight.
So see how he works with his knife, and then in the same time, as he's cutting, he looks at where the bone is.
Yeah.
So it's very, very important to remember the way that you're gonna cut it, because you see, if you don't cut it right, you're gonna lose meat. Now, for us in the restaurant, we don't lose anything because we use everything. Okay?
Okay. So you turn this the back part. You turn on this other side, so we can trim a little bit some fats.
So now the fat that is here, as you see, we are not throwing anything, because this is very, very important when we want to make sausage, or you want to make mincemeat for example, if you want to make meatballs. We're gonna only meat. It's not nice. It's not very, very tasty. So we add always, let's say, 80% meat and 20% of this fat. And this fat gives the meat it's a moisturizer for the meat. It makes it beautiful, soft.
Okay. Now we are going to remove the one side, just right from here. We have the loin bone. Loin bone is not like the ribs, it's short ribs. So you're going to go right there.
You see, once again, the knife is doing the job. The knife is very sharp, and then we are working with the fist. Now, once again, this is the loin. Fat, beautiful, another fat here. Now, imagine if you have a charcoal, how do you put it? A chico, okay? And you put this for about 7-8 minutes on the chico, on both sides. And then when it's beautiful grilled, you can serve it, really cut it like this and serve it at home. So this is the way when it's really grilled and done. You know, it depends if you want it well done or if you want it medium well or medium rare. You can cut it, you can grill it, roast it, and then cut it like this. Then you have a piece of beautiful, beautiful fat, and then the meat inside.
Okay. Now we are done with this, like the sirloin of lamb. So I'm going to cut this with the machine. I remove the extra, the one side of bone, and then we cut like T-bones. This will be like T-bones, right?
So this, all the bones that we have, and you will see next week when we will show you how to use these bones also to make a beautiful lamb broth or goat broth, and then to add a little bit vegetables, a little bit meat, and to make a beautiful soup.
Okay, so we are going to remove this. See the
marrow. We will cut it as a T-bone. You know, most people know a T-bone. Okay, now most of the people know the T-bone coming from the beef. Yeah, okay. So like I said, most of the people know the T-bone coming from the beef, but you can make your own T-bone also from the lamb. Look at this. If you put this on in a chico and you grill them, you will have guaranteed a very, very beautiful piece of meat where the whole family can enjoy. Okay? So if you are up country or if you are home or as a professional chef, you want to use all the lamb, it's actually very simple. It takes a little bit time to get to learn, but after that, it's very simple. Okay.
Also at home, you can cut just right across the joints with a big knife.
So, of course, at home we don't have these machines, these professional machines.
It has joints, so you can just...
Okay, so it's just with doing it a couple of times, then you will know how to cut it. So, T-bones. T-bones, very beautiful piece of meat, very soft, coming from the back, what we call the sirloin of the lamb. Okay? So now we showed you how to do the T-bones. We showed you how to cut the fillet. We showed you how to do we're gonna show you how to do the cutlets, and then how to roast also the sirloin, piece of the sirloin, where you cut it through the bones, and then you can have a boneless sirloin.
Okay, here is the best chops. The chop with a bone. So we are going to trim it nicely.
This is here, okay? So remember what I said and what Daniel was also saying, do not throw anything, because you can make everything from the lamb, from the pieces.
So here we have the bones, which we separated from the spine. So this bone a bit of it is here.
Okay.
So the loin, the chops join like this. So I separated with a knife. So there's a bit of it here. So I'm going to remove it.
Again, work with a sharp knife and let the knife do the job. You just have to actually drive the knife a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is very important, because when you roast a whole cutlet, or you want to cut it, this bone is you have to remove this bone. Otherwise, the knife is not going to go through when you cut the cutlets.
The cutlets, yeah. So it's a work of fingers now, eh? Because it's so you just open it. It has joints, eh?
So, and you will feel it as you learn how to do it. You will feel the bone, and then you go just on the side of the bone, and at the end you cut the whole bone in once.
So through removing this, you make your guest comfortable when eating, because these bones can pierce. Eh?
So on both sides, you see he did it on the right side, and then he turns, and then he is now doing it on the left side, cutting it. And then you can just take the bone in at once. See, now we are removing the bone. Yeah. The last pieces of the bone here. So we're gonna keep this with the bones also, because it has a little bit meat and a little bit fat to make our broths. Okay. Now, you can do two things with this. You can roast the whole cutlet, the whole piece, like this. And at the end, just cut here. And at the end, you cut cutlets and you serve. Okay. Now, this is gonna take you about 15 to 20 minutes to roast it in a whole. But you can also do something else, and then you can cut the cutlets, individual cutlets.
So we are removing now the extra fat. You see, like this one is aged, so we are going to clean the fat. Clean the fat. So we are going to just go on top.
Very, very, very thin.
And then now you can also cut into cutlets. Just try it with your knife.
You see, we have the T-bone, and then we have the cutlets here. Now, lots of chefs will take this away. I don't. I like to have the fat a little bit on it, so I leave it. So when you do it up country, when you do it at home, you will see that this fat is gonna melt, and is gonna melt into the meat, and you will have a beautiful, beautiful piece of cutlet to eat. And your friends are gonna be very happy when they are in your house. Okay.
Now here we have the leg part. First of all, we are going to clean the fat also, just on top.
So now remember that this lamb is 10 days aged. And aging the meat, it's very, very good because you get rid of all the blood that is coagulating into the meat inside. So you age it, and then you will see this layer is protecting the meat, but also helping the fat to marble into the meat. And a meat that has a little bit fat never kill anybody. It's very, very, very beautiful.
Okay, now from here, we are going to get the shank, lamb shank. Lamb shank is from the first joint to here. So we are going to just go right.
Yeah. Lamb shank, everybody has heard about ossobuco. Now, ossobuco is known an Italian dish that the Italians do from the calf, from the veal. But you can do it also from the shank of the lamb.
Okay, so
it's the same preparation, actually.
So we are going to just cut it right there.
Now remember, this is a joint, so you can just do it through with your knife and you can cut it. It's the joint. This is a shank. Now if we use it, we're gonna cut it a little bit in here. Okay, so, and then you have a lamb ossobuco. Okay, just with the machine. So now imagine this. We will show you how to make it also next week or the week after. And you can just put it in on a, top it with the sauce, put it for about an hour and a half, 2 hours in the oven on 180 degrees, and then you will have a beautiful lamb shank with tomato sauce. But we will get back to it in next week or the week after.
Okay, with this other part, you can do steaks. You can debone it completely. You do steaks, or you can also debone it and roll it.
Roll it, and then you have a roast. A roast when you come back from church on Sunday. You can put it in the oven, go to church, come back, and then you will find a beautiful lamb leg, roasted beautiful lamb leg. So let's cut the bones.
So I'm going to debone it. It has only 2 bones with 1 joint here. So I'm going just to remove it, but I'm going to leave it whole. I'm not going to separate it. Yeah.
So once more, go. The knife is doing the job, okay, and you are just directing the knife. So you're directing it without even cutting too much into the meat.
Yeah. So the knife goes against the bone. So here's this joint here.
Beautiful. So even at home, you will feel it. You will get the feel of it because the knife is going through. You see, you will find the knife and you will find the bone, and you just go against the bone. And the first time, if you cut a little bit more meat, it's not because even though you see here it's clean, and then we will make a broth out of it. But when we make the broth, it's gonna take us about 4 or 5 hours to make the broth. This remaining meat is gonna be very soft. So you can take it out of the broth and then with the knife, just clean it. Clean it, and then you have a little meat into your broth.
Okay, now we have meat with one bone. So this one is straight, but it has two joints, here and here. The joints where it was joining, this one was joining with the shank, and this one with the ram bone. Yeah?
Yeah.
So here you just separate the meat. Go around the bone.
Once again, when you do this a couple of times, you will see that it becomes very easy.
Yeah.
And even if you cut a little bit more meat with the bone, that's no problem. This is clean. Once again, when you make the broth, you can just, when it's soft, you can just go like this with your knife, and you take the meat, you put it in your soup bowl, and then you shank the broth. Okay.
So in between here, there's a glad. Glad is let me show. So we have to open the meat. Just opening it. There's this part, yeah.
Now, why we are doing this is when you roast the whole leg, if you don't take this away, you see this is very, very tough.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough meat. So take the time, please, and just clean it a little bit. Take it, you can see it, and you take it away, and then you roll the meat for a roast. Yeah. You see, this is very, very tight. Very, very tough.
So you see this the boneless part now.
Now, if you have a cord at home, now we can do two things. We can cut this also. Okay?
Yeah.
We can cut this. And then, Chico, you cut steaks. Beautiful steaks. And you can just throw them on the Chico for a couple of minutes, and then you have the same part, but preparing it differently. And then here, if you have a cord, do you have a? Huh? So you can roll it. Like I said, if you are going to church on Sunday, you can just put it in the oven for an hour or an hour and a half. on a very low temperature, about 125, 130 degrees. And then, yeah, you can marinate it inside with a little bit garlic, rosemary, coriander, parsley. You can put some paprika in it. You can do whatever you want, whatever you like. And then you roll it.
This is how you go with the cotton twine. Just put one piece. You are going to use only one piece. We are not going to cut it. So you just take your
hands
and like this. This one you have to practice it.
You see, like I said in the beginning of these programs, cooking is doing it with passion, but also have the time, take the time to cook, take the time to make beautiful things, because why bother go to the supermarket and buy something that is already done? You never know what's in it, you never know what chemicals they use, you never know how long it has been sitting there in the freezer. You can do it yourself. And I know from my friends, from my Kenyan friends, that slaughtering a goat is a tradition, is every time they go up country, it's a family thing. So please take the time to cut your goat and then to prepare it.
Okay, so to finish, you take the one which is down and the coiling one. This one will pull it together and then you tie it. Just like this. And you are done.
Okay, roast, steaks, cutlets, T-bones, sirloin, fillet, okay, and the spare ribs. Okay. We have this, and then with the neck, we will show you next week what we're gonna do with it. Thank you very much, and I will see you. Thank you for joining us this evening, and I hope that we taught you how to deal with the lamb, with the goat, and then we will show you again how to do it with the beef also, because there's lots of people that slaughter beef. Now the beef we age for 21 days. We hang and we leave it for 21 days to be able to marber, and then we'll show you that next time. Thank you very much and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you, Chef.
Okay, today the chef's tip, and I will show you how I age my meat, but I'm gonna tell you also a way how to age it at home. Now, welcome to my chamber. Now, this is the way that we age the meat. We hang it. We hang the whole piece for about 21 days. Now, of course, nobody at home has a big cold room as this. But what you can do is when you slaughter, you just cut in pieces. You cut the meat in pieces, you wrap them in plastic, and then you put them in the fridge on about 6 to 7 degrees, at least 2 weeks, from 2 to 3 weeks. Some butchers in the United States keep it 30 days. So you cut the pieces here, you wrap them in plastic, and then you put them in the fridge for about 14 to 21 days, and keep the fridge closed. Don't open it too much, because you want to have a constant temperature of about 6 to 7 degrees. Okay? And then you will see that the meat is going to be dry and marbled. Now think about our grandfathers. Before, they didn't have any fridges. So they will hang the meats in a spot where it's cold, and then they will keep it. And every time they cut a little bit. And that's, you know, it's something that has been for hundreds of years. Our grandfathers, certainly up country, when they didn't have the electricity and they didn't have the fridges that we have now, they will just hang in the meat. And as you know, as the meat age, as the margarine of the fat comes into the meat, and the meat becomes soft. So this is my tip for today, and I hope I will see you next week. Thank you very much. Join us next week.